So we recognize that there are a number of areas that the standards will bring change for both regulators and accredited registers. So we are very keen to help support them through that process. So we'll do that through a number of ways. Number one, early in the next financial year in April, we have some engagement planned. So we have the Accredited Registers Seminar, which is happening in April for the accredited registers. And then we also have some further engagement happening with the regulators at the end of April also to support them with understanding the new standards and begin to think about implementation. We'll also, particularly for the regulators, we know because of the way the assessment cycles work, some regulators will be starting that assessment sooner than others. So we'll be looking to do some targeted and very specific engagement with those individual organizations as well, just to give them a little bit of extra support as well. We also want to just recognize that a number of organizations that we work with will also have some named contacts within the PSA as well, particularly for our regulators, and we'll be wanting to support them through that, through our regular engagement that we have. The other thing we'll be doing particularly for regulators is developing some how we will assess guidance for them to help, particularly focused on those standards that are new or significantly changed, and will be a useful guidance for them about understanding how we will assess those kind of new areas to give a bit more detail on that. The other thing that will be coming, I think, post-implementation, so after July, will be development of some good practice guidance as well. I think what regulators and accredited registers have said to us will be really useful is understanding what does good practice look like in particular areas, particularly with a focus on those standards which may be new or significantly changed, and that will be a piece of work that we'll be looking to develop after July also. So I think one of the most significant changes for us in terms of our assessment of regulators and accredited registers is probably the increased focus on governance and leadership. Now that won't be a significant change for organizations because this will be something that they will have done quite a lot anyway, but it will be a change for them in terms of preparing for us being able to assess those areas. I think the cultural shift is going to be more, I think, in the area around local resolution. So the standard that is encouraging concerns about professionals being brought to the right place in the right time in the right way. That is going to be a cultural shift, not just for regulators and accredited registers, but also for, I think, employers, I think for who employ professionals, for members of the public and patients as well, about having this shift in understanding where a concern about a regulated professional or an accredited professional, where that concern should go, and being able to support people to raise concerns in the right place, and for all parts of that system to be supporting that direction of travel as well. So I think that will be an area that is going to require the most kind of cultural shift and probably is going to benefit from the most kind of collaborative working, I think, over the next few years as that standard embeds in practice. So I think particularly with the good governance standard, I think for us, it's a moment, I think, for organizations to be thinking about if we are coming as the oversight body to assess the assurance in that process and to scrutinize that. I think it's an opportunity for organizations that we oversee to be asking themselves that question. So whether you are sitting on a council of a regulator or a board, or you are a member of senior management team or executive leadership team, thinking about how are you assured, what the systems and processes that you have in place to kind of oversee quality and performance and effective working and equity and all of those things. How are you assured that those things are being effective in practice, and how are you measuring the impact of those things? I think that will be a really important thing for organizations to think about. I think on the collaboration standard, now again, collaboration is something that organizations do already, and quite a few are doing quite a lot of great work in this area in terms of collaboration. But again, I think this is a moment for organizations to think about areas of appropriate alignment. So what are kind of the important things for regulated professions, both now and in the future, and where are the opportunities for organizations to be aligned as best as possible on those issues? And then finally, on the point around the standard related to local resolution, again, this is a real moment in time for organizations to be thinking about, are we receiving the right concerns? Are the right things coming to us? And if not, who are the people and organizations in that system, from the patient, from the professionals, from employers and other organizations. Who are those individuals that we need to be talking to, influencing, giving feedback to, etc., to make sure that we are directing people with legitimate concerns about their care to the right place, so that that resolution can happen in the right place. And that may not always be at the feet of the regulator or the accredited register, and how we can be assured that those things are happening.